Before starting at Emotion, I had previous attempts, at maintaining my sobriety. The longest I had was 2 years, and that was like a few years, again, prior to working at Emotion. But then had that little voice in my head of like, oh, well, maybe it's not a problem because you've been good for a while. So let's try again, see what happens, see if you can do it socially on the weekends with your family. You'll enjoy time with your family and friends more. And so maybe like 6 to 8 months before starting at Emotion, maybe it was closer to a year, is when I started drinking again. And it quickly escalated, right? Went from maybe once a week to twice a week, and then quickly went daily. And even me talking about it, I just am getting a little clammy. It's interesting to reflect on that in general.
Connect with us on the Emotion Wellness Podcast for a transformative journey of human connection. Witness personal stories, improve your mental health education, and acquire valuable resources for optimizing your well-being. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.
Welcome to the Emotion Wellness Podcast. My name is Jason. We are back again for another amazing episode introducing one of our incredible team members. So I have Miss Gabby Cortez here in the studio, and she is going to share a little bit about what she is about and how her experience at Emotion has impacted her and the work that we do with clients. So welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Gabby.
And Mr. Frank Parisi is in the house today. So glad to see you, my brother.
Same here.
So this is a show about physiology, regulation, and the real drivers of recovery. It's not just talk therapy. At Emotion, we believe healing starts in the nervous system. We believe movement is medicine, and we believe that outcomes matter. Why does this series exist? Choosing a therapist shouldn't be a blind leap. In a field that often hides behind credentials, jargon, polished bios, and bullshit websites, we believe transparency matters. This series exists to introduce you to real humans behind the work at Emotion Wellness, how they think, what they value, and how they actually show up. So you can feel a sense of connection before you ever reach out. This is why we're here today with Gabby.
So, welcome, Gabby. Yeah.
My first question for you is, how would you describe yourself before this work?
Oof. Before this work, the first word that comes to mind is dysregulated. Chaotic, not in a like necessarily risky way, but chaotic and unstructured, lack of routine, lack of consistent self-care. Just like daily, just letting the world kind of take me without me taking that initiative for myself.
So I have a follow-up question that I'm curious about, because as you were sharing, it spurred this thing in me, right? So I've yet to meet the people that I meet who are drawn to this work for the money are ones that I don't spend a lot of time with, because they fuck everything up. Yeah. The majority of the quality individuals that I meet who are drawn to therapy, being a helper, we're here, I believe, due to our own experiences. Like, we're trying to help other people we're sorting through our own stuff, and we're trying to help other people not experience that, right? And we were just joking around with Doug, right? Where it was like, how do we all end up here? Well, we all screwed up our lives, right? We were dysregulated and chaotic. So when you look at your motivation for leaning into becoming a therapist or working with people, would you say it falls in that category, or is there some other motivation for you? Like, were you trying to solve your own internal stuff? What drew you to wanting to work with people?
Initially, it wasn't for my self-discovery or for myself specifically. It was more coming from a family, from a large Hispanic, Latino family, and all of just what my family system looked like on my dad's side, on my mom's side. The divorce, the addiction, alcoholism, the financial struggles, the being raised by a village kind of thing. And so just the amount of different scenarios in my upbringing and in my family even today and a lot to do with my dad and his experience with alcohol and alcoholism. Those were the bigger reasons of me wanting to get into social work. I initially thought I was going to be a dietitian, then I was going to be a physical therapist. But when I started those programs or started doing research, I was like, this just does not align with me and my background. So getting into social work or helping profession definitely came from how I was raised and my experiences with my family.
In this process of, you're a social worker. Gabby's also our assistant director of operations. So she came in as a therapist, doing direct care work, still does that, is doing groups and helping with case management, but has really taken on a much larger leadership role at the center. And now she's in the process of taking on this daunting challenge of learning all things emotion and trying to figure out how my brain works, and Casey, and, and then we have a new clinical director. So learning all about that, there's quite a bit going on for you, and you're doing a remarkable job. As you've been in this process, what did you have to unlearn to become effective?
Oof. Unlearn. Biggest thing that comes to mind is unlearning that I'm now learning that it's okay to disclose parts of myself, that it's okay to be relatable with the people that I work with, whether it's adolescent group or the adult group, and my coworkers too, like being able to relate with the people I'm around on a daily basis. And just seeing the humanity in each other helps the process go so much smoother. And you'll see people, right? It's Brene Brown, right? Vulnerability matches vulnerability. And so you see that a lot. Even if it's me sharing like about my relationship with food and disordered eating, you'll start seeing people share or relate or be more willing to open up. And that's one thing that I have had to relearn is that I can disclose parts of myself. I can disclose parts of myself, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like while I've, historically, I'm sure there's people out there, and I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but there's plenty of coaches out there who maybe weren't the best athletes, or, didn't play the sport. It's a cerebral exercise. And, but there's something about the work with people where, I remember years ago, this is a long time ago, but my sister had a job. We're all therapists, right? So it gives you an idea of the family background. And my sister had a job working for the state. And I remember she had to have a separate social media account, and she couldn't give them her last name. And I never wanted to be in that. It just didn't work for me. I started out obviously as a person in sobriety. So I was using a lot of my own personal experience, and then went on to get educated and blended both the, professional and the personal. And I do agree with you that, I think for me in particular, the culture of the staff at Emotion has been the priority. It's making sure that, and a lot of us talk about having to unlearn the corporate structure and the normal workplace stuff. And so I love that you brought that up. How do you see the culture impacted by the relatability, right? When you say I'm connected, does it improve the connection? Does it, what are some of the ways in which we see that benefit the client and the community at large? Trust is the biggest thing. Rapport building, not to say that I disclose or share my information just to build rapport, but that definitely that plays a piece. It has to be tactful, and it has to be intentional, right? We're not trauma dumping or
no.
And if you're using the group or that thing for yourself, that's where it gets into.
And thank you for clarifying that. Definitely not trauma dumping. And usually I will only disclose bits of information if it's something I've already processed through, not something I'm actively going through. But just the trust in general of and I was sharing this just a little while ago. I had a group last week. It was one of the evening groups share that they were so thankful for the staff and how they can see just the ability to see us as humans and like, yes, we're in this role. Yes, we're facilitating these groups, whether it is in the back in the gym or in a beanbag or couch room, but being able to see the humanness of us just impacted their stay and their process and journey in general. And knowing that we can be in the role that we are and still not be perfect, but that we're actively like all growing.
I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, what I hear and what it really means for me is it's like we're giving permission for others, right? So by the example of the courage that you display, because it's terrifying, right? This idea of getting honest, and it seems trivial to a person outside of it. It's almost like, well, what's the big deal? But when your core belief is wrapped and riddled with shame and this exposure, it's like, I want to be seen and I want you to know who I am, but I'm terrified to do that. And so I'm going to keep it a secret. And, we see it all the time, people trying to get well. We just had a recent example where a person was, experienced a return to use and didn't want to talk about it, and didn't want to let people in the circle know. And it was like, well, how are you going to get well in a position of secrecy? Because if I'm lying to you, every time I show up and sit with you, what's going to happen? I'm going to be like, see, motherfucker, like you piece, you know what I mean? Like I'm feeding that thing, right? Shame. So is that how you see it, or?
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say this, and I've always been like that, even when I was doing one-on-one work with clients. Who's missing out because I'm not showing up, And back to your thing, I'm never gonna, trauma dump on anybody, but whenever I've been able to, open up to myself, it breeds a different connection, and through that connection, we're able to help them to heal a lot more because they're trusting, and once they're able to trust, we're able to do the deeper work. I've watched you just in the time that I've been here with you just completely transform. Seriously, like your whole body. I'm watching you do high rocks challenges, and it's really impressive to watch your growth from a distance. I needed to let you know that. No, because I've seen you completely transform everything, and embrace exactly what we got going on here,
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is why I love what we do, and I agree with him 100%, but I want to add to it. So, man, some of this stuff just frustrates the crap out of me, man. You know what I mean? Like what I see out there. And so I've really been blessed with this opportunity. And we've talked about this in staff meetings and just in private conversations where I feel like I've been able to heal a lot of the injury that I received in the field itself, and watching just these people succeed on total bullshit. Yeah. Like, we talk about this a lot. Like you've fucking went canoeing one time and now you got canoe therapy at your program, and people showing up to do equine therapy in a shopping thing. Literally it's bullshit. Where's the pool? No, there's no pool here, dude. Like,
or just make them believe that they're your treatment center.
Yeah.
How about that one?
Yeah. It goes deep, right? Yeah, that's for a whole nother show, but it's like, you get your phone number jacked and they start stealing your calls, or it's like a bunch of criminals got together and said, we're going to open up programs and we're just going to, use the street game to like try to move our business ahead. And I just saw a whole bunch of people forgetting about the suffering and the hurting people that we're supposed to show up for, right? And so, but in the same way that you're describing, I share about my disordered eating. That's one thing, right? And that helps clients to say, oh, well, she struggles with that, right? But here's where I think the magic is. How many days a week are you at the center at 5 a.m. doing your own work, right? How many, you came to me and asked about getting some story work done, and you were willing to both do some with me, and then I found you a coach and you did your own story work. And story work is not playtime. Like it's not a good time. Mark England out there, I love you, bro, and I love what you put together, but it is not a good time when you're getting unstuck. Yeah. It's a phenomenal time when you're celebrating wins and you're using it for goal setting, but when you're getting unstuck and you're looking at your stuff, man, now when it hits, that's the fun part, right? You start to see yourself differently, but to step into that. So you are an example in the realm of effort, consistency, discipline. And so when we look at you know, I think we have a reputation for being really consistent and probably a bit intense, right? But but most people who are disciplined and committed to something come off as intense. So like when you show up and you're not going to eat the dessert and you're going to get your workout in on the road, and you're loading, you know, I'm loading kettlebells in my truck to take on a road trip, and my body's, you know, I couldn't walk 6 months ago, and I'm like, but I'm going to go move at the gym. And like that looks like obsession and other things to people who don't necessarily have that level of commitment. So I really want to commend you for what I've seen in all of the areas that a human experience can experience. You've put in effort and you've put in work and it's not just one time. It's like you kept showing up. And I've seen it most in the realm of you having a voice, right? And see the big smile, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and I, getting to know you, I've known for a long time that you have a very sharp mind. You have a lot of creativity, a lot of things going on, but you did not feel comfortable in sharing them. And I think that historically comes from childhood and things that we learned growing up, right? But you coming to me and saying, hey, I'm really interested in being more in leadership, or I'm really interested in, we've had several meetings where you were able to like share your voice, and that type of thing for someone in my position is so incredible to witness. Because it's like, yes, she's on the path. Like, you know what I mean? Because we're helping clients, but honestly, I mean, I'm doing this to help all people.
Of course.
But I think most people would agree that my main focus is like developing the staff.
Yes, it is.
I really want staff to level up. And you have been somebody who, you came in to us, and I'm not going to put the term alcoholic on you, but you had a relationship with alcohol, right? And tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah. Before starting at Emotion, I had previous attempts at maintaining my sobriety. The longest I had was 2 years, and that was like a few years again prior to working at Emotion. But then had that little voice in my head of like, oh, well, maybe it's not a problem because you've been good for a while. So let's try again, see what happens, see if you can do it socially on the weekends with your family. You'll enjoy time with your family and friends more. And so maybe like 6 to 8 months before starting at Emotion, maybe it was closer to a year, is when I started drinking again. And it quickly escalated, right? Went from maybe once a week to twice a week, and then quickly went daily. And even me talking about it, I just am getting a little clammy. It's interesting to reflect on that in general. And my relationship with alcohol, blackouts often, if not most of the times that I drink. Lots of isolation, really connected to my depression and feeling lonely. And so, like just my use of alcohol was my main coping and managing with uncomfortable emotions. And so when we talk about substance use and addiction is a mental health issue, it's because it is, and they're so connected. And starting after working here and processing that in our staff meetings or with coworkers and then in groups of clients, it clicked, right? Like, duh, they're not separate. They're not separate at all. Not separate at all. And so really seeing that in myself. And when I had already started here, I was seeing a psychiatrist. I was thinking about this on my drive here. I was seeing a psychiatrist. She ordered blood work for me to get done to check my thyroid. My mom had thyroid cancer when I was younger. So I was like, just see how that plays on your mental health, and if there's any other levels that we need to look out for, and if they're impacting you today. Everything good, thyroid good. It was my liver levels that were through the roof. And so that scared the shit out of me. And again, I was already working with y'all. And the crazy thing is, and I had a AA sponsor at the time. Well, I sought her out probably 2 to 3 months after I got that that blood work done. But the crazy thing is like maybe I got those results in like April. I still drank several times after. And so even though it scared the shit out of me, it didn't stop me. And that scared me more. I was like, I have this information. I remember the night I got it, I didn't know that your liver was so resilient that if you stopped, it could bounce back. Yeah, it can heal itself. I had no clue. And so I was like, I have cirrhosis. The worst thing's going to happen. And I had a uncle pass from cirrhosis, and my brain just went there, right? And despite that fear, despite that anxiety, despite that sadness of like my life is ending and I like all of that, didn't stop me.
Makes sense to me. Like, fuck it, I'm already here. It's already ruined, so might as well
keep going.
Right? And that was like a turning point for me. Once that clicked, I was like, fuck, you had that information and it still didn't stop you, kind of thing. Maybe I stopped for a week, but then how was I gonna manage the fear and the uncomfortable emotions without the alcohol when it's about the alcohol? It was just such a conflicting thing in the moment.
So how did you change that relationship?
Seeking AA. My dad's been in 12-step for a while, and so me having gone to like meetings with him growing up, he would when he was sober when I was younger, I would go with him periodically when I was visiting or he was in town, and so knowing that was a community that already existed, but never knowing that it was for myself per se. And I'd gone to other 12-step meetings for eating, but not for alcohol. And so really just trying that out, and of course sitting in the background at first, and then being around a community and coworkers who, and not everybody, and not that that's a requirement. And I remember asking Melissa on my first day at Emotion, I was like, do I have to be sober to work here? And I wasn't sober at that time. I was like, well, fuck, I'm not going to be, that's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Like, I have to donate blood to get hired.
But having supportive coworkers who are now people I'm really close to, and that chosen family, as well as movement. Movement has always been a part of my life, but there's definitely been seasons where I'm lacking in it from previous jobs or stress levels or whatever it is. I just would make excuses of not moving my body. But starting the 5 a.m.s, working out with the teens and during the teen group, that really helped me. And it was like rediscovering that part of myself and what healthy could look like for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so that was a big piece of it.
I love that.
I love that too.
How long has it been now?
Amazing.
It'll be 2 years beginning of June, so
It's incredible.
a little under. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's badass. Tell me a little bit about the work you did with story work. Like, how does that, because we talk about it and it's interesting, right? Like, I saw story work in action, and I was instantly, just based on my experience and my own stuff, I was like, holy shit. Like, I felt like I had stumbled across a pot of gold. Like, literally, this is very similar to when I had the experience at the CrossFit gym where I was like, everyone has to have this experience, because my inner critic, it wasn't the workout wasn't cool. It was like what went on in here, right? It was literally, my inner critic was loud and screaming, and then that guy lined up with me and I was like, holy shit, like this could actually be a really cool experience, right? And then, interestingly enough, it's so funny how I had this recognition and then it took a year. And I waited a year and I went back to Mark and I was like, all right, I'm ready, dude. And then I did 1, 2, 3. And one of it was I needed to get some money. I was broke when I saw that first session, but it's really been incredible for me. We talk about it as what we do with the clients. People don't really understand it, or, it looks like neuro-linguistic and it looks like this, and it's barely touches certain elements of those things, but it's so its own thing. And I'm just curious, for you, and we haven't really talked since you had some sessions, right? Would you mind describing a little bit about what that process looked like for you and what were the results?
Yeah, I did. I probably had maybe 6 to 8 sessions with my story work coach. And it was all virtual, right? She was in Colorado. She was the owner of a CrossFit gym out there. And so that was really cool, like us already building rapport on that, and her coaching style, and being able, again, to relate on why she got into story work and part of my story. And but it was interesting because I had also, a few months before, had also started EMDR with my therapist. And so it was like we had just started touching on things. And so, but story work was such a different approach to the same things I was working on. And it felt like more tangible work. I don't know how to explain that, because it was in the moment, you're breaking it down. But lots of writing, lots of like good type of challenge for me, of me actually getting my thoughts and emotions out on paper, and being vulnerable about my alcohol, about my childhood, about my relationship with food and binge eating, or relationship with sugar specifically. And it was just interesting, like being able to connect the dots between how I view myself, and low self-esteem, self-image, and connection to my childhood, right? And how I was raised, and how I felt like I didn't have a voice. And yeah, it just helped a lot. I feel like I'm blanking right now, but just being able to connect the dots from my childhood experiences, young adulthood, until now, and how all of it is connected, but breaking piece by piece. And there's still so much more work to be done. But it definitely helped. We did a lot of story work on like my dad and my mom and my relationship with my sister. So lots of my immediate family things. But it was really powerful, really helpful.
Do you feel like you left that situation with a different perspective of your self-concept?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say more hopeful, and more hopeful that I do not have to feel this way forever. And you used the word unstuck a little while ago. Like I don't have to feel stuck, or like it's impossible to heal, or it's impossible to overcome.
Such a great point. So like many years ago, I mean, I'm 22 years sober, so it was a long time ago. And I say that not to brag about my sobriety, but we're old. Yeah. And I'm about to prove that next month when it comes to my fucking birthday. So I was in a group at VA hospital. And this counselor was actually a really cool guy. I became, years later, I went back after I finally, got sober, and we had a cool connection. But I remember him saying, and I've heard this in other rooms, right? I remember him saying, look to your left, look to your right. Only 1 out of every 4 of you are going to make it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, why the fuck am I here? Like, you're making me do something that only worked 25% of the time. Like, of course, there's complexities and people, but it really shocked me, right? This idea of, it doesn't sound very hopeful. So why? So we're being taught, and we're being impacted by these messages. We don't really see it. And then I adopted this mindset of, well, what's the point anyway? Like, I'm not going to. So when you talk about feeling hopeful and the ability to feel unstuck, I think of a potential client. It's like, what would you give and what would you do with an opportunity to feel like you could actually change? Because so many of them come in the door and go, you ask them and they're like, no, I feel like I can't change. And it's like, but I'm still here. And then you start digging into like, what does it mean about you that you showed up? What does it mean about you that you walked in the door? And it's very different when they really dig down. It doesn't mean that you're a screw up. It doesn't mean that it's all your fault. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that you have courage, that you have strength, that you have capacity. And so I just feel like for me, and I'm assuming it was the same for you, the story work was a beautiful reframe. It was, in 12-step literature, they talk about new pair of glasses. You've probably heard that. And I feel like that's exactly what story work does. It's like you just take the glasses off and you put a whole new, and it dials everything in so it's more accurate. And it's not about everything's rainbows and butterflies, because some shit just sucks. You know what I mean? But I get to understand that it sucks accept and see my role accurately, and then I'm empowered to actually accept responsibility if I have it, and then move forward, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. Good stuff.
What have you learned about yourself since working at Emotion?
I've learned that, and I feel like this might sound silly or it feels silly to me, but it's huge to me as well. I've learned that I can have structure and I can have a routine, and that how much that actually impacts me. I used to wake up when I worked at a school. I used to set an alarm. We'll set like 4 alarms, right? Wake up to the last one, maybe still miss the 4th one, get up frantically, not eat breakfast, 0 movement throughout the day, rush in my car, right? Just like get there, already chaotic, either pick up an energy drink or make coffee there, and then just go about my day, right? And so it's like, if that's how I start my day, like, and I'm working with kids, how is that like domino affecting into the work that I do? Not to say I when I talk about that job, I love the kids I worked with for sure, but the version of myself is not something I miss. So routine for sure, seeing that I can have discipline in my life, and having coworkers and people I'm close to lead as example in that way has been wild. And it's like, what's the phrase, like, walk the walk? Is that how it goes? Not just talk.
Yeah.
Like, not just talk about it. Like I
Be about it.
be about it. I actually feel like that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Well, that's authenticity,
team.
right? That's authenticity. That's
the whole
where
team.
where I don't have any issues taking a position nowadays, and like, because we're real, like we're who we say we are. And you know, people I know in the field and stuff. It's funny because it's interesting. They'll come up to me after not seeing me for a while. They'll be like, dude, like, I never hear a bad thing about your program. Like, it's a big fucking surprise. I'm like, well, no shit. Like, why would you? We spend an enormous amount of time making sure that, like, we do exactly what we say. If we make a mistake, we own it. Like, come on, like, we're fair. We don't, you know what I mean? Like, and that's been our business model. Like, it's not about anything other than being as good as we can possibly be, help as many people as we can. And I love that for us. And I feel like we do it in a way that, I don't think it's not for everybody, but we do it in a way that works for us, which is like, we are all in. We're transparent. We're authentic. What you see is what you get. And that's how I've been most of my life, even at my sickest. It's like, love it or hate it. Like, I'm going to tell you how it is. So.
And we're all doing the same thing. Everybody's doing it.
Well, it's so funny too, because like when we first started, like, I love hearing what you're saying, because the team, now I'll go in and there isn't any single person on the team that doesn't participate in the stuff that we do, right? And we make it mandatory. Like, you have to at least plunge, you know, to get hired, you got to get in the plunge. Yeah. You're not getting hired without plunging. We may not make you do it.
I remember during my interview, I was like, do you want me to do it right now? Or...
Yeah, her and Casey showed up with his bathing suit on. He was like ready to go. You know, we're not, early on though, I remember the admissions phone was like, it was way early, right? And the team took it a little too far, because it was like I had Nelly and Casey were out sunbathing in the back. They had like put a mat outside, and the admissions phone is ringing, and I'm like, whose phone is that? And I pick up, I'm like, damn, this is like the work phone. And I was like, 3 therapists out. One was doing red light. The other 2 were like, I don't know, doing some bullshit with the LEDs and yoga. And I'm like, yo, like, we actually have to work. Like, I appreciate that you want to do this. It looks like the next phase of our development needs to be on time management and how to fit this into our schedule. And it just cracks me up, because like, that was how we started. Yeah. And then, and now it's like, people are, you know, we get our day started early, and the clients follow suit with that. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
What's a day for you look like at Emotion? Like, what's a typical? Yeah,
it depends on the day. Say I'm leading a group. So for example, today, podcast. Yeah. Start with podcast. Usually it'll be, I'll get in, make sure my documentation is in place for, the previous day. right? Or prepping documentation for that day or whatever groups I'm leading. Today I have, I don't want to say chill day, but it's our
Recovery day.
yeah, it's like a recovery day. I lead yoga for both groups, so at 3 o'clock and then at 8 o'clock, and then we have a guest speaker coming in from San Antonio Food Bank to do like a live cooking demo and the connection to brain health. She did one previously on mental health and gut health and the connection there, and so. Wednesdays are honestly one of my favorite days because it's like, okay, cool. I get to lead yoga and enjoy time with the clients and see people really push their limits in general. And I'll see some of the adults be like, look, Gabby, I got the crow pose, or I got this, or can you remind me how to do, last week I was teaching tripod stands, headstands, and like, can you remind me how to measure where my hands go and that kind of stuff. And so like, yes, as facilitators or therapists or people that work at Emotion, where our job is to also challenge the clients and people we work with. But then they do it on themselves too, because they're so curious. They want to grow. They're seeing other people. It's just like,
well, they see the results of putting in effort. It's like, oh, and I'm getting traction. I want to do more of that. And then they also start to believe in themselves more. So it's like now, rather than shying away, like, oh, I'm resigned to failure. It's like, what the curiosity is, what could I do? What am I capable of? Right.
And the curiosity and playfulness, how those go hand in hand too. I'll see the giggling. I'll see the just them like talking amongst themselves and encouraging one another. It is really cool to see. So each day varies, whether it is yoga, guest presentation, or I'm leading an orientation for people on their first or second day, going over all the really fun policies and
navigating construction projects that I can.
Yeah. Yes. But we, and as y'all know, right, we don't have offices, and we're all very mobile. So you'll see people that work at Emotion just walking around with their laptop and sitting in one room meeting with one person, and then 30 minutes later sitting in a group room leading a group. So it's really cool just how flexible we are. And of course we have a little staff area to have our meetings and stuff. But yeah, it's a really good vibe in general.
As a person who is in charge of leading a team, right? Like I firmly believe in that. Like that's why we do it. We don't have offices, and I'm curious, no wrong answer, right? And like, you don't have to say something that you think I want to hear, but it seems to me like what you just said, it's an actual benefit because it puts people out. And do you see that too? Are you in alignment with it, or
benefit to
like not having offices and like,
yeah. I think there's, in other positions I've had an office, but then it's also been really like a job that I had, that I was right before coming here, a job that I had an office at different locations that I was at, but it was really isolating at the same time, where I didn't have to leave that office at all. Like I could just call in the next person or work with the next family. And that, looking back, that really fucked up my mental health was not great. And so, yeah, benefit for me specifically of like being mobile, having a change of pace throughout the day, not being glued to desk or chair or laptop, and being able to, being able to spend time around people, whether it's coworkers or people enrolled in the program at the same time.
Well, now we have like the warehouse on the other side, which is like where the focused work gets done. It's like a outdoor office. And I saw Casey back there yesterday.
Really?
And I know you're over there sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a better way to do it, especially the way we have it set up with the couches, and it just feels more family style. You know, like you're at your house, you're on your couch, you know what I mean, like getting work done. I mean, you're visible, right? And you're engaged. So I was just curious. I appreciate your input on that. All right, I want to play a game with you.
Cool.
It's like rapid fire.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say like sauna or cold plunge.
Sauna.
High intensity or zone 2.
Oh, high intensity.
90 breath work or box breathing.
90. I regret that. Sorry. Go.
What's a song that helps you regulate?
A song?
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I think Bad Bunny came up immediately because he was just in the Super Bowl, but it's usually songs that I know all the lyrics to, where I have to like miss a part or whatever. And usually Spanish, if I know a full Spanish song, it just gets me pumped about myself
Very
and
cool,
like my
yeah.
language. But the Titi Me Preguntó by Bad Bunny, probably.
All right, badass. What's one practice you won't compromise on?
Ooh. The movement, working out in general. I like recently I hurt my foot a month and a half ago, and was all in my head about I'm never going to be able to move again. I can't run, and I really enjoy running. And that was such a small, it wasn't even, nothing was fractured. I don't really know what was going on. I just needed to rest and ice it daily. So movement's a huge one. Yeah.
You got anything over there?
I don't. Oh, yes. What does emotion do differently, and why does that matter?
Emotion, we connect differently. And again, not in an inappropriate way by any means, but the community is different. The community is so different. We encourage people to build that healthy support system. We're all working in a forward direction, whether we're here for similar things or not, staff or people enrolled in the program, but it's like everyone is moving in this forward direction. So why not support each other along the way? So the community, I do believe, is the thing that really sets us apart.
I consider it a biological intervention. I mean, I use that term all the time.
I love that.
It's like, it is. So I really appreciate you saying that.
People come to the center when they don't have to be there. People, for example, we have we're tabling at a 5K this week with Street to Feet on Sunday, and people will volunteer, people signed up, people are just going to go cheer each other on. Like, it's not mandatory. It's not part of their IOP or PHP programming. They're going for the community. They're going because they actually enjoy each other.
I saw the picture of the Ruck Club, and it was like bigger than it ever was when I did it. And I was like, dude, that's so badass. And then I was like, my feelings got hurt because I never got that many people to show up. So.
Dude, I was texting Mark about that over the weekend. I was like, of course, the weekend I'm gone, more
It's
people
massive.
get massive.
How many people?
It was like 15 or 20 this last time. It was huge. It was a big ass photograph, like one where you had to like step back where we only, it was like me, Jamie, and his dog. So and
I should come down and do one day, just without the ruck. I don't know if I could do the whole ruck with you guys.
my other question for the rapid fire was CrossFit or High Rocks?
Ooh.
This is definitely not, I'm not answering rapid fire. I don't like that that's a question. I refuse. I like them to coexist.
All right. I'll give it to you. Is there anything that you would like to mention, share, speak about that may help someone who is considering reaching out for help or seeking addiction treatment, or mental health treatment? And I like how you shared your own experience earlier about it. It's all mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
We managed care separates them and all that, but it's, we're dealing with mental health issues here. That would benefit somebody, who's looking at, doesn't have to be emotion, but like they're out there looking, right? And so they come across our info or they're looking at other info. Is there anything that you would share with somebody who is seeking help?
Yeah. It's like I guess I would say you won't know until you try. You won't know what works until you try it. You won't know what doesn't work until you try it. But going back to that, staying curious about things, I feel like that's a big part of moving in a forward direction or becoming healthier versions of ourselves, is like just a willingness to try. And if either it's a therapist or a program or whatever it is doesn't work, cool, now you know, because you didn't have that information before. And obviously I'm biased because I work here at Emotion, but it's like, if you come to us and it works, badass. If you come to us and it doesn't work, also badass. You now have that information. Mm-hmm. You can go to another place. You can figure out what does work for you. But again, you won't know until you try.
Yeah, I love that. What would you offer to people?
The cave that you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek.
Getting all deep on us and shit.
It's just the truth, man. Like, you know, I was in a place of, you know, I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel when I was in the grips of my addiction, and just taking that leap of faith and sticking my toe in. And then I started to swim, and now I'm freaking rowing a boat. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, I love that. Thing. I think for me, it's, I mean, my message to people in general, certainly my mantra is that I have far more capacity than I'm aware of, right? And most likely what I'm aware of is very limiting. But when I was out in Arizona recently with some people and we were having a conversation on a podcast, I think finding community. So if you're someone struggling with mental health, I think community is king.
Yes.
It's at the top of the necessities.
100%.
I also think getting assessed. So getting an assessment, having someone who is trained to help you discover what you may be struggling with. And those two things alone are going to do the thing that I think is most important, which is get you out of the secrecy. Right. So if I join a community and I'm vulnerable, I'm willing to be seen. And if I stick around long enough, somebody's going to say, hey, what's up with, you know, and if I get assessed and I find out, okay, yeah, there's these things that I have going on, and maybe they're more common than I suspect. Maybe more people are, you know, dealing with this than not. Cause that was my thing. I really didn't know back in the day. I had no idea that so many people were so similar.
Suffering.
I thought I was the only lunatic that had like this stuff going on.
Because we were in like our little crew, right?
Did you feel that way too?
I was gonna say it's wild. I've absolutely felt that way, and it's wild when people in groups and in our program share that too. Like, oh my gosh, that's the same thing I've gone through, or I completely relate. And it's the relatability is so powerful.
It's been the biggest blessing in my life, walking this journey. I mean, I wouldn't be here with any of you guys. I wouldn't be in Texas. Going back to what we said, like, why are we all here? We're all here because we fucked up our lives from New Hampshire, Arizona, New York. We're in Texas. You know what I mean? And we're out here. And it's like, and it's back to also to the listener or the client or wherever you're trying to do. You don't realize that your story becomes like the most powerful thing because we've all been in the fire. And once you've been in the fire and you've walked through it and you have some tools, you are now able to go back into the fire and pull the next person out. And it becomes our greatest gift. Our pain becomes our purpose. Our mess becomes our mission. And
it's so interesting just building off of that. I led a group this week. Our week curriculum is on trauma, right? And so a group that I had yesterday, actually, we went over resilience in connection to trauma and like what's the definition of resilience. And the definition I had was like bend without breaking. It's our ability to recover, adapt, and grow.
I love it.
And there was someone yesterday that shared, it's like, it's not necessarily the bounce back, it's that we're bouncing. It's like we're actively working through the shit or whatever it is. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, safety is not avoidance. That's actually like a really bad behavior to avoid, because you create this fragility and you lose capacity, right? So safety is being able to say, I can feel that, experience that, and I'm still going to be okay. Right? And that's what you're talking about. Well, at least that's what I hear you talking about, is this idea, this concept of, it's not about not getting activated. Like the goal, that's life. Get activated, get the highs and the lows. It's how am I able to return to baseline? How far up do I go? How long do I stay there? Right. So these are all the things that, when we talk about treatment versus training, right? I really don't like the word treatment. We're training nervous systems. Absolutely. We're training capacity so that when life does show up and you get an opportunity to experience it, right? So many of us are, we withdraw. You talked about it, like drinking, isolating. And the more that I isolate, the more that I hide away, the more that I avoid, the less I can tolerate. It's just the way it works. It's like same thing with anxiety. It's life in general. It's people, we all train in the gym. Use it or lose it. When I say that, what comes to mind?
Oh, my health.
So if you don't move, you're going to lose it, right?
You don't move.
Well, it's the same for the psychology.
Absolutely.
Like we just don't, we're not used to applying that same terminology to a mental health mindset, but you use it or lose it. So if you're not, and this is, we digress and I don't want to, but this is another show really, because we are in a society right now where we're being conditioned and trained not to use it. Short form reels and really quick access to information. And so less and less people are actually reading. Most people, you put them in front of a book, you give them they start reading, they're going to fall asleep because too much energy, the brain's going to, it's like, I'm not engaged because it's a muscle that they haven't, right? For a lot of people, critical thinking. Like there's a lot of things out there where if you don't use it, you lose access to it, right? And so thank God that we're all able to, you know, continue to move our bodies and the examples that both you guys set for me, you know, like I'm real clear nowadays. I don't try to be any sort of bravado about it. I have no desire to train at 5 a.m. ever again in my life, ever. I'm gonna say it again.
I'm
ever.
with you.
I don't give a shit.
I'm with you.
And I used to love that. I mean, I was the guy. I'm the reason we have a 5. Like my friend Ephraim wanted a 5 a.m. class, and that's why I did it, right?
We're pushing half a century.
And so it's like I did it for a really long time. I got no desire. I don't care. I get to the gym when I get there. That's generally, right. Well, it's right around 7:30 is my time. Yeah. But you know, your commitment, your discipline. You know, I've shared this with Frank. Like your mindset really helped me when I got sick recently. And Gabby, your commitment to the process as someone who is trying to do that for more and more people on the team, it feeds me in a way that helps me to gain the strength to keep going. It's like, oh, this is working. Like, look at Gabby's experience. And she started with us as a part-time therapist and went into full-time and cost me a lot of money on the front end because I had to pay a recruiting service and
Now she's a superstar.
I like to give her a hard time about that.
Superstar, rock star.
So I know that you were concerned or, you know, had some feelings about the podcast at first and some stuff just popped up and you had mentioned like something about, you know, being exciting or valuable and I just want to share with you while you're here, what you bring to the team in the example of the work that you've set for yourself, the commitment, the physical, you've changed your physical body composition, you've changed your mental composition, you've engaged in challenging work, you've looked at a very significant inner critic that had you thinking all kinds of stuff that wasn't true, and what you provide for our clients, the way that you function from a very organized, that's super helpful for me because that's not my style. I dip into it and I have to for certain, but it's not how I want to be. So I'm so grateful that you are in that position and you stepping into a leadership role, and you have absolutely trained your nervous system for more capacity when it comes to the unknown. Because in the past, you had a lot of difficulty with that. And this new role has been one where it's like, hey, I know I want this. I don't know exactly what it looks like. And every week we're like shaping it, and she's been handling it beautifully. So I just really want to thank you for the work that you do. You're a gift to our team. You're a gift to the clients. I hope you feel that. I hope it resonates with you, you know, so.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So we always end with this. What's next for, are we there?
No,
are we there?
dude.
We're not there. We're not there.
There's no what's next. What's next is more emotion.
Well, maybe there's something next for you.
Yeah?
Let's look at that. I'd like to take his question and add to it.
Yeah.
What's next for you in your personal development?
There you go.
Ooh.
What's the next challenge you're introducing?
My personal development, definitely this role, right? Like you said, we're still defining it. And seeing how I show up with people that I've worked alongside, but in a new role. And I don't want to say with a little bit more authority, right? And so me just leading into that.
It's a role change and people have to adjust to that. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then on the like physical side, my goal is to get freaking handstand walks. I don't have those and I want those really badly. Do I have a training plan in place? No. Have I been thinking about it? Yes.
How about this? Pick a date.
Pick a date.
But you'll get a handstand walk by what date?
July 1st.
All right, cool. And then now work backwards, and we don't have to do it right now, but from July 1st, just work backwards, and you'll figure out a way to start to implement the necessary changes. So
Yeah.
you guys heard it, July 1st.
July 1st.
July 1st. We're gonna put it on video on July 1st.
Will you? Okay.
Hell yeah.
No, you walking. Yeah, on your hands.
Well, again, I appreciate all the work that you do. I appreciate your willingness to come on this podcast series that we're doing. For those of you that are watching, just a recap of, we're really promoting transparency in this mental health industry, showing people exactly who we are, who our staff, who they are, what we do on a daily basis, what we're about as a team, our culture. So basically all things emotion are coming through this series, and we're going through everyone. Like I've had partners, we had Doug's got a show. We started with our newest therapist, Kian was the first one to, now Gabby. And so we're going to end up going through the entire team so that anyone who's interested in potentially checking us out might be hesitant, or maybe they're curious, but they're fearful. Yeah. And so they can get an idea about who we are before they ever make a phone call. Right. So, so I appreciate anyone who's listening to this. Appreciate both of you for being here. You can find us. I'm going to let Frank handle all the socials.
On Instagram at emotion.wellness.podcast. Also follow us on Instagram at emotion.wellness.therapy. Go and check out our website, emotionwellness.com. Please like and subscribe on YouTube to the Emotion Wellness Podcast. We're also on Apple and Spotify. You could find my brother, Jason Turner, at _motion guy. You could find me on Instagram at Frank Parisi 2011. And where could the listeners find you, Gabby?
Ooh, at Emotion, 5 a.m. in the mornings. Not every day, but most days.
What about on IG? What is your IG?
No socials, no socials.
I have it private, yeah.
Okay. You will not. You'll see her reels on our Instagram. So there you go. Thank you, everyone, for watching us, man. Because we appreciate you guys, and I get DMs, and I know you guys are watching. We don't have a huge following yet, but we appreciate the ones that are watching. We hope that inspires you guys.
Thank you for connecting with us on today's episode of the Emotion Podcast, where we discuss all things mental health. Connect every week as we explore incredibly intimate stories of persistence and hope. Delve into mental health education and explore valuable resources. Available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.